Hey guys, Joe here. So this is a preliminary video, so that way I can reshoot it, so hopefully I don't post it. But this is relating to surfing as well as business as well. So for the past year, I've had this really bad fear of these larger waves, right? And not even big, which is the really annoying part to me, is I'm comfortable up until in those 2 to 3 foot waves, and then but after that it's so nerve-wracking, right? My body changes, I can feel it, and the crazy part is it literally feels as if I'm standing on, I don't like heights, right? But then again, there's other things that's just weird as shit, where lately I've been going on, at work, right? So we have the warehouse, it's got taller ceilings and the roof and all that kind of stuff. And so if I'm on a forklift, right, or someone's driving a forklift, and then basically we put a pallet down so I have a platform to stand on, I can legit go 16, 20 feet up in the air. Right? I don't know what the exact height is. 16 feet, I don't know, something like that. And I can not mess around, but do whatever I need to do, mounting security cameras, or right now we're adding this pallet racking stuff, and I'm fine. But if you put me on a ladder, my entire anatomy changes, right? And it's I start, my heart starts, the heart rate starts increasing, sweaty hands, you can feel the twitches in your body, that kind of stuff. And it's frustrating, right? But that I just accept it, because I don't give a shit. There's been times where I'm I really want to put these Christmas lights up, and at that point I just don't, that's a once a year kind of thing, right? But what was frustrating to me is going back to the wave situation, is that I am very, I love surfing. I literally love it. It's pretty much hand in hand with business at this point. Now, if I was, maybe not. I actually think it's a second behind business. But, I'd go out into these larger waves, and it's it scares the shit out of me. It really scares me. And it's been so frustrating. I'm what the fuck is my problem? Because I would sit out before I would go out and, paddle out. I'd watch these guys, one, I'm turning 40 this year. And then, but I'd see these guys that are 60 and plus, 60, 65, 55, 55 to 65, going out and popping up with no effort, nice and relaxed. And they're just gliding down the wave. Right? And I just couldn't grasp what the hell is going on, right? And I had a few different theories and stuff like that, because I'm constantly getting injured. I think one, I wasn't stretching when I should have, because I'm thinking I'm 20 years old still. But the other issue is that the other thing that I noticed finally this past week when I went out, the same thing, the waves were larger. When I originally looked at the forecast the night before, it was saying 2 to 3, and I'm perfect, right? So I head down the shore, and then I look at the app, and it's freaking they're saying 4 to 6 foot when I get down there, which I am not doing 4 to 6 foot waves, right? So I end up, it was foggy when I got down there, and that was just another reason not to do it. So I'm let me just get some work done, I guess, something like that. And then finally, the fog went away, so I end up going and, going down to the beach. Or actually, I drove down to the beach first. And then I'm okay, people are out, I can do this, right? And, well, at least, I'm fuck it, let me just get in the water. So I do that, and same thing, I'm scared as shit, and I'm not going out super far. Everyone, if you know anything about surfing, you have to get past where the waves are breaking, right? But usually, what I see, not that I know a lot about surfing at this point, but what I end up seeing is there's normally 2 areas of breaks, right? Where you have the normal waves that are coming through that are breaking on a consistent basis. they're breaking, you know, in a certain spot. And then, but these larger waves are breaking out, you know, another 15, 20 feet, something like that. Just making up numbers. And so what I was doing is I was basically going out just past where the, you know, the smaller waves were breaking, but still they were probably like 3-foot waves, right? So a little bit on the top end, and actually probably a little bit above like what I was comfortable with. So I don't know exact range, but they were basically they were just a little bit higher than I was comfortable with, right? And I was just standing out there for, you know, a while, and then, you know, sitting on my board, and then eventually, like, I'm like feeling the water, you know, feeling where the ground is, and I'm like, I can actually like kind of touch here. So then I'm like, well, shit, like if I end up trying to ride a wave and I fall, like I'm gonna end up injuring myself, and that, because that's one of the bigger fears for myself, is that, you know, because whenever I get injured, it's not like a quick, you know, thing. It's like legit months. You know, the last time my tailbone was sore, and I end up being, I was out of commission for 2 months, right? And my time's already limited because I don't live down the shore. And so, like, at this point, I'm only going on the weekends and stuff. And so, you know, I'm worried about that. But then what I realized this past week, and I guess the important, you know, thing to take away from this is that I wasn't, like, the height wasn't really the concern, right? And because I do realize, and that was something I was scared about before, that it was the height of the waves, because again, like the fear of heights and stuff like that. But then what I realized is that one, like, I was scared of that as well when I was trying to learn how to surf skate. That was supposed to help with, you know, surfing. It's kind of like, you know, surfing on ground. And so there's this one hill in behind my house. There's actually this parking lot. It's got a steep hill, and at first I'm like, oh shit, right? And I'm like, that was scaring me because one, I haven't skateboarded in forever, but two, it was pretty steep, right? But that's steep if you go straight down. But then I realized, I'm like, you know, first I'm like shaking a little bit. I'm like, oh shit, right? But then I realized if I don't go straight down and I literally cut across, I can make the hill as steep as I want. Because when you're going across, like literally if I go straight across, there's no hill. If you think about it, because the slope, you know, if the slope's like this, but you're going across this way, there's no slope, right? There's only a slope if you are going downhill. So I knew that, and I knew by watching the other surfers that was, you know, what I could do, right? And so anyway, I'm sitting out there for a little while, and then I realized that, like, I was getting more and more comfortable, right? And then I was catching little ones here and there, and I'm like, I don't feel nervous, right? I didn't notice it right away, but after a little bit, I just didn't feel nervous. So what I found, and I'm like, what is the deal, right? And what I found is because the waves where I was sitting, it wasn't deep, right? So I could stand. So while I was waiting for waves, I'd be standing. I was in like neck deep water at that point. Is this guy like can't get in because of me? Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what he's doing. So anyway, I was in neck deep water, and what ended up happening is that it wasn't the height that was a concern. This is actually rooted back to probably a year before now, maybe even a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years, that the one time I went out in really, it was rougher water than I would have liked, right? And so if you haven't been surfing, like there's days where if there's not like a lot of wind and stuff like that, like you have a break that, a wave that comes in a few seconds, probably 5, 6, 7, 8, seconds later, another wave comes in, maybe 10 seconds, whatever it may be. but then if there's high winds and all this other kind of stuff, what ends up happening is that the waves are coming and coming and coming, right? And like one after another. Like the one guy next door neighbor, I don't know if it's common saying, but like it felt like a washing machine. Like literally, you like if you get crashed on the head, it's coming again and again and again. And so anyway, the one time I'm out by myself and I was in those types of conditions, and so I end up getting knocked underwater. And even though it was only a few seconds, like because I'm not super fit at this point with paddling, because I don't go out all the time, and two, I can't hold my breath as long, what was happening is I had this innate fear of drowning, right? And like, because when you go surfing, like, when you have your board and stuff, you can use that as a lifeline. But like, when it's really strong, like what happens if the, the board the leash breaks or something like that? So you can't, what is this dude doing? You can't see on the camera, but like they're constantly barking. So like it was actually a fear of drowning, right? So now that I know that, like what is the root cause of the issue, not the surface level issue that I thought it was just because of the height, because I look at it constantly and I look at these guys that are, 55 to 65 years old that are, another 15, 20 years older, 15 to 25 years older than me. I can see them easily getting up on the board. I can do that. I know that once I get on the board that I can just cut across the wave, which will pretty much make the steepness as big or small as I want. That was the other issue. Where I'm at, they have this steeper, it's beach breaks, so they break really, really quickly. Whereas if you look at videos of like Bali and stuff like that, where like these guys are on the wave for like, 30 seconds, which doesn't sound like that long, but it's a long ass time that you're on a wave. Whereas mine, you're maybe up there for like 10 seconds at the most, right? And but normally the wave, it starts peaking and breaking like immediately. So like there's no time to hesitate. There's no like leeway. You got to get up quickly. But anyway, going back to it, it wasn't the height. It's literally, and that's what I was focused on. It's like, oh my God, it's the height that I was focused on. I'm like, it's too big. It's too big. It wasn't that it was too big. It was the fear of drowning. I'm assuming. Right? Now I haven't got past this yet because I haven't gone out since, but now I know that, one, I'm going to get winded pretty quickly. Like for people that surf, like especially like I have the iWatch and I track that kind of stuff. Like you can track your wave counts and things like that, but also track your heart rate, right? Well, my heart rate's low in general. So like typically, my resting heart rate's in the 40s, like there's been alerts where I'm getting at like my heart rate's at like a 38, when I'm sleeping and stuff like that, which is probably not that great. But my heart rate's really, really low, which they always said it was because of athleticism or whatever, but I just have a slow heart rate. Well, when I'm surfing, and just say normal baseline, like if I'm just walking, it goes up to maybe like 80. But like if I'm just sitting there, like right now, I don't know what the actual thing's going to be. It's a little bit higher just because I am back on ADD medicine. So I'm waiting for this. So I'm sitting here at 67, right? So normally I'd probably be closer to 60, but it's a little bit higher with the medicine. But when I go out surfing, and actually I should say with the treadmill as well, if I go on the treadmill at 3 miles an hour, which is slow, but I crank up the incline to 12, which is pretty damn steep, my heart rate only goes, it takes a good 15 minutes to get me to 150 heart rate, somewhere around there, but typically it's hanging around 140. And I'm exerting myself pretty decently because again, like if you've ever went on a treadmill at 12 incline at 3 miles per hour, like it's not easy, right? Well, with the surfing, even a lot of times if I'm just sitting there or, if you paddle in different spots, like my heart rate is averaging anywhere from 140 to 170, so like when your heart rate's up, like you can't really hold your breath that long, right? And then the other fear is I think that my shoulders are burning out, meaning that I'm scared if I'm getting pushed under, I'm not going to be able to like paddle my way in and like all that kind of stuff. So long story short, we got to look at, and thank God I started editing these videos because this is 15 minutes now, is that we have to start looking at what the root cause of the problem, not what the surface level is. And the book I was reading, it's The Road Less Stupid. They kind of talk about this in the thinking time. The whole book's about thinking about different things, right? And basically they say is like, the first, just say they're supposed to, like, he says 45 minutes to an hour, but he's like, the first, 10 minutes or so, like, you're going to figure out the surface level problems. Then the second, the second third of your sitting down is like, typically then you're going to start thinking of like that second layer, right? And then, after that comes the third layer, which is like really what the root cause is, like what you're dealing with, right? And so anyway, I think it took a while, and it's like I was just so focused on like, what the hell is my problem? It's the height. If I could just figure this out, like if I could just jump on a wave, I'll be okay. Which is true, I think. If I go, like, I thought I need to just go to indoor surfing, but like doing it during the day, I have the business and everything else, so I can't really do that. The weekends are pretty much non-existent, like they're always taken and booked and everything else, which I'll probably try to do anyway. But then it's like I want to do stuff with my family. And so, but now that I know the root cause is probably, and it may not be, but I think it is at this point, that I am scared of drowning, I need to work on that, right? So that's between the two things. One, I have to work on my breath holds and be confident that like what I started doing is on the treadmill, I get my heart rate to 100, 140, 150, something like that. Step off the treadmill, for 30 seconds or whatever, and like I'll hold my breath, and I probably look like an idiot, but I don't really care. But I'll see how long I can hold my breath. And normally it's been, at first it'll only be like 15 seconds. And then I can get up to like 30 seconds and stuff like that. And so I'm like, I literally only have to be, I only have to be able to hold my breath, realistically, max like 7 seconds is what it comes down to. Now, if waves keep on crashing and crashing and crashing, that's where I have to, like, I'll probably start training for that as well, is like I'll hold my breath, right? For as long as I can, for like, just say the 30 seconds or whatever I get to, and then I'm basically going to breathe in and out real fast and then hold it again, like immediately after, and to basically, and do that maybe like 3 to 4 times. Actually, I probably do 4 to 5 times. And the reason for that is I want to get comfortable that if I get knocked under by the wave, that I can just quickly get to, I can definitely, hold my breath for long enough to get back to the surface, which is really not that much time at all, and then I basically be able to quickly breathe in and out, like basically replicate what a wave would do, which is basically I'll have about 2 seconds to like basically hold my breath again. Well, then I'm going to do that, and then after that I'm going to hold my breath as long as I can. Then I'm going to take another 2 seconds, breathe in and out, and then hold my breath, and just do that probably like 4 or 5 times to replicate like the worst possible situation that I'm going to be in. And I think by doing that, it's going to calm my ass down, so that way I can do what I need to do in the water. So I'll probably go back and edit, not probably, I want to go back and edit this video so it's more cutting out most of the chunks, because this should be like, instead of 19 minutes, it really should probably be 5 or 6 or whatever. But these are things that I'm kind of going through, and again, like if I'm going through it, I feel like it's going to help other people. So hope you enjoy, and if you don't see the edited version, sorry it took so long to get to this point. See ya.